All right. On this one, we're finding the derivative of y with respect to x. So we need to know the derivative of the inverse tangent. The derivative of the inverse tangent of x is 1 over 1 plus x squared. And the derivative of the cosecant of x is going to be negative 1 over the absolute value of the square root of x squared minus 1. All right, knowing that information, we can probably finish this up. So y prime is going to be the inverse tangent of this stuff. So that is going to be 1 over 1 plus the square root of x squared minus 1 squared. And then it's going to be the derivative of the inside. Well, the derivative of the inside is going to be the square root of x squared minus 1, which I can actually rewrite as x squared minus 1 to the 1/2. And if I want to find the derivative of that, so if this is u, the derivative of u is going to be 1/2 x squared minus 1 all to the negative 1/2, but then I got to do the derivative of the inside of that, which is going to be 2x. So this 1/2 is going to reduce with that 2. And so we're going to have, and if I rewrite this with the negative on the bottom, it's going to be x over the square root of x squared minus 1. And then we need to do this part. Plus the inverse cosecant is going to be 1 over. Now, I don't need this absolute value, mainly because x is going to be bigger than 1, which means x is always going to be positive. So I'm just going to say x, and then x squared minus 1. Now, all of this squared, this is going to reduce with this. And usually when we have a square root reducing with a squared, we need an absolute value. But if you think about it, x squared is always going to be positive, which means we don't really need an absolute value. The only way that we would need it is if this ends up being less than 1, but as we know, x is always going to be greater than 1, which means this is always going to be positive, which means we don't need an absolute value. That's why they gave us this restriction. So we end up with 1 over 1 plus, now this went away, so 1 plus x squared minus 1. So this actually goes away with this too. So I'm going to get rid of this really quick. This will be 1 over, now let's actually multiply this out. So 1 times x is x. Then on the bottom I'm going to have x squared, square roots of x squared minus 1, and we missed a negative somewhere. Oh, it's right there. So this is actually not positive, this is negative. And then we end up getting minus 1 over x, square roots of x squared minus 1. This reduces with this. And we end up getting 1 over x, square roots of x squared minus 1, minus itself. And anything minus itself is always going to be 0. So the derivative is actually 0.